Thanks for watching. I'm back to work on my stock market tool today, as I am every day. So let me go over, before I get started, I'm going to go over what I've done so far, what the plan for the project is, and what I'm going to do moving forward. And specifically what I'm going to be working on today. So here are my two goals for the project. The first goal is to beat the S&P 500 by a significant margin and make money in all regimes. So if the market's going up, I want to be outperforming the S&P 500, not by just a little bit, but by a lot. And also, if we're in a recession, which it looks like we might be going into soon, I want to still be making money. So not beating the S&P 500, but losing money. I want to be making money no matter what. And if we're going up, I want to be beating the S&P 500 by a lot. So I'm writing all of this in Python code. The second goal I have is to create a tool that anyone can use to create advanced models for themselves. And the one main requirement here is that it should be free. I only want to use free data, free everything, because when I'm using a tool, if I go there and they're making me pay, I immediately don't want to. Now, maybe if you have a lot of money, you'll happily throw money at stuff if it might not work. But for me, if I'm concerned, I don't really know if it's going to work or not, I don't want to pay money. So that's kind of my two goals that I'm working on here. Here's the outline for what the strategy will look like. So first I have data. You don't want to use all the stocks, so I'm going to isolate a stock universe. Basically, you don't want to use things like penny stocks or low volume stocks, because this is going to throw the model off and make your model perform worse. Also, if you're using low volume stocks, there's a lot of slippage, and sometimes you won't be able to even execute your model. So I started this project at the beginning of the year. This is where I was at. This is basically my progress over the course of January. I started out getting NASDAQ data. It turns out this isn't the best data source. Even though it's free, you're going to have to download data for every single day, and that's not really doable if you have like 8,000 tickers in the stock exchange. So I found a better data source. The link for that's down in the description. You could check it out if you want. You could also check out the GitHub, which is in the description, and I give you instructions there for installing this data. It's really easy. It's a SQL database. It's hosted on DoltHub, which is basically like GitHub for data. So the next thing I did was a basic analysis. Here in black, I'm looking at fundamentals for different stocks over time. And here on the right, I'm looking at, I wrote some code which can compare the performance of different tickers in a sector. In this case, I'm looking at pharmaceuticals. So you can look at the performance against average and find things that are underperforming or overperforming the sector. This is nice, but it's a qualitative analysis. You can't really automate this into a strategy. And so the next step was to create a light gradient boosting method model, which I show here. Here it's underperforming the S&P 500. I am getting about 51.5% returns. That was the best I was able to do. I did find some successful portfolio strategies which worked on this, but there's a couple keys here that make the model fragile. So first of all, if you look here, I'm plotting number of positions versus Sharpe ratio, and you need a Sharpe ratio of at least 1 for the model to be usable. And you see here, the only one that gets a Sharpe ratio above 1 is if I'm only picking one stock per day. So that's the first indicator it's fragile. I then tried thresholding a similar model. So this is predicting probability of going up. And if I increase, I started at 50%, it's just below 1 in the Sharpe ratio. But I found that if I increased it to 53%, I get a pretty substantial increase in the Sharpe ratio. And at 54%, I'm getting a really high Sharpe ratio. But the problem is if I increase to 55%, it's not making any picks. So for these reasons, I concluded the model was pretty fragile and not robust enough, and I needed to do basically look through all sorts of different features and targets to find something that worked. Now this was a good idea, but the problem with this is that the code was a mess, so I was writing a new script every time I wanted to change how the stock universe was defined, every time I wanted to change how the model worked, and every time I wanted to incorporate a different portfolio strategy. So at this point, I was at dozens of files in the code. It was going to quickly blow up into hundreds of files and maybe even thousands by the time I got a good model. And this really wasn't usable for me or for anyone else. So to be in accordance with my second goal as well, I reorganized the code base into something that's really flexible and easy to use. And now you're able to define your universe, create your model, and test it in all sorts of different ways in under 50 lines of code. Um, and this is all the features and targets that I implemented. So once I had this, the next step was go ahead and throw every feature into the model and see how it performs. You can see here it's actually performing worse in terms of directional accuracy. But more recently, I've found out that this isn't the metric I want to look at. So I'll get to that in a second. This isn't too interesting. I basically was trying out all sorts of things to improve the model. But here, I got a model which worked really well. So like I said, this isn't directional accuracy isn't the metric you want to use. Rather, you would like to use these bottom 5 metrics. So I'm looking at the information coefficient of the model. This basically is showing how good it is at predicting. The standard deviation of the information coefficient to information ratio, both on a daily and annual basis, and the t statistic. So the first one, information coefficient, like I said, is giving how good the model is at predicting. The other 4 metrics are giving basically how stable the model is. So you don't want an information coefficient that's really good and then bad metrics for the other models. Similarly, you don't want bad values for the other metrics. Similarly, you don't want, because that would be a model that returns really well, but it's not very stable. And also, you don't want something that's really stable, but it's not giving you a lot of returns. So you kind of got to balance those two. The key point here is that this model, the way I was splitting the training data, it was getting really good values for each metric and outperforming it substantially on every metric. More recently, last Friday night, I was looking at this model. So I tested this every which way that I could for a single model. So this is using all data going back to 2011. And when I was looking at the testing, I thought this was working really good. So you see here, once I had finally finished all of the tests, it actually improved the metrics. You can see here at the on the right. And these are the metrics. So information coefficient went up. Basically all of them went up. And I thought I had a really good model. This is on last Thursday night. And then last Friday night, I thought, okay, I'm going to try to change how I'm splitting the data a little bit. So initially, I was using the first 60% of data for training, the next 20% of the data was for validation, and the final 20% was for testing. And that's where I got this really good result and the result that I showed earlier. This is the model that I tested extensively and that I thought was so good. However, when I change the data splitting so that I'm training on the first 50% of data, validating on the next 15%, validating is how you train your hyperparameters. So you let the model run a bunch of times and you try to find which parameters are giving you the best results. And then when you do your actual training for the model, you do validation first, tuning the hyperparameters. Once you get some good hyperparameters for the model, then you go through and train the data. Once that's done, you test the data. So I changed it to train on the first 50%, validate on the next 15%, and test on the final 35%. And when I did this, the good performance broke. So I went from beating it on every metric to either beating or not beating it on every metric, or barely achieving the threshold metric, which was a lot different from here, where I'm substantially beating it on every metric. So I looked through, the next step was really figure out why this is happening, what's going on. So the next thing was to do a walk forward analysis. So instead of training a single model like I was here and here, I went through and I grouped the data into 5-year sets sequentially. Not 5-year sets, 6-year sets. So the first 4 years of the set was the training data. The 5th year of the set was the validation data to tune the hyperparameters. And the final year of the set was the testing to test the model. And so these are the results from the tests. So since I have data going back to 2011, I'm using 6-year sets. The test years start in 2016. And you see that the information coefficient, it's outperforming my goal metric. I'm trying to get 0.01 to 0.02. And you see it's well above this for all years 2016 through 2021. However, in 2022, the performance falls off. 2023, it recovers to be between 0.01 and 0.02. 2024, it falls off below 0.01 again. In 2025, once again, it's between 0.01 and 0.02. So it basically, the model's breaking, but it's not, it's not performing that poorly. Also, if you look at the information coefficient to information ratio on an annual basis here in green, you see that it actually is hitting my goal metric every time. So here, the goal metric for the annual information coefficient to information ratio is 0.3. And you see that it's above 0.3 for every year. Here's the table. So even though the information coefficient isn't as good as I wanted it to be, the stability of the model is really good. So the model is sufficiently stable, but it's not giving me the predictive power that I want. But basically what this means is that the model isn't completely broken. I need to squeeze a little bit more performance out of the model. So all those features and targets that I showed earlier are all on price data. And there are really two things I can do to improve the model. The first thing, most obvious, is incorporate fundamental data in addition to the price data. So this is basically information from quarterly reports. And you get things like the price to earnings ratio. That's a very famous metric. Basically, people say if your price to earnings ratio is above 20, watch out. Kind of lots of people think we're in an AI bubble because stocks like Nvidia have a price to earnings ratio of like 50 or 60. Same thing with Palantir. And this is kind of a marker. People learned this, at least it was ingrained into my head from the dot-com crash in the early 2000s. So basically the point of this, so here I need to improve. So I can improve using fundamental data. The problem is the data set I'm using, which has really good price data, isn't as good for fundamentals. So it's missing fundamental data for some of the stocks in the data set, and I don't want to omit it for anything. And so I need to actually use fundamental data. I'm going to need to find a data source which has it. Again, I'm trying to use free stuff, so I'm probably going to have to query the SEC Edgar database. And this is going to be really complicated for fundamental data because there's a lot of features I want. And so writing that code is going to be very complicated. Another simpler thing I could do is, rather than getting fundamental data, get the sector that each stock is in. And this is going to kind of it's going to improve the model in two ways. The first way is it's going to give me another feature to incorporate into the model. It will be my only categorical feature. And basically it will allow the model to learn, what sectors perform well when. So like an example of this is famously like the aviation sector, companies like American Airlines or any airplane company, where you book flights and stuff. They're very seasonal, so they'll perform really well over November and December during the holiday season. They kind of experience a fall off during this time of year, and they do well again in the summer. So it's very cyclical. So we currently the model doesn't have that information. It's only going off of price data, and so we would that should improve the model if I add sectors as a feature. And so that kind of pales in comparison to the improvement that I'll get from the normalization to the sector. So currently I'm normalizing the model. An example of this is kind of you take how each feature is doing and then subtract the average performance of all stocks in the market for that day. And same thing with the target. So if you're trying to predict log returns for the day, you can normalize to the mean, and that will give you, rather than just getting log returns, you can, if the whole market's going up, that's going to skew things. And so a better thing to look at is what are the log returns relative to the average log return for the day. And that gives you a much better idea of what's beating the market. But a much better way to do this is to normalize to the sector. So take the performance of the metric for the day and subtract the average of the sector. So these two things, since I only need to squeeze a little bit more performance out of the model, these two things I think should be able to do this. And so I need to focus on getting sector data. So just like the fundamentals, the best way to do this is the SEC Edgar database. They have information for everything that's been listed, and one of the pieces of information they have is the sector. So I've been going through and trying to get the sectors. When I first started doing this, I was only able to get about 55% of sectors. And this is because the SEC Edgar has a really easy lookup strategy for things that are currently listed. But for any stocks which have been delisted from the database, It's not the they have this thing called an SIC, which is basically a code. So for anything that's currently listed, you can give the ticker, and it will give you the SIC back, and then you can use the SIC to get this all the information for the asset. One of which is the what sector it's in. Um, and so uh, I was only getting 55%, and I've been improving this code. I improved it to get 75%, and then improved it to get 93%. And that's where I was last night. So last night I was working on improving this even more. These are the results here. So this is how many it's missing. So it's missing now only 2.6% of the data. So I'm getting over 97% of the data. So started 55%, improved to 75%, improved to 93%, improved to 77%. So today I'm going to be going through and trying to improve this to get 100% of the sectors. Once I have this, I can incorporate the normalization into my feature engine, sector normalization, and then I could also incorporate the sectors as a feature. So that's what I'm going to be working on today. Let me get down to business. Yesterday, someone helped me, one of the viewers helped me get set up with this. This is basically AI coding. Before this, I was using Google AI Studio and in the browser and basically giving it commands and stuff. That's a little less efficient because it doesn't remember where I'm at and things like that. So I'm going to use this instead. So let's see. Hey, Furpo, how are you doing? I'm pretty good. Don't reply. Just giving a heads up. Don't rely. Also, hi Goya Dikshant. Um, also, did I say I'm doing good? How are you doing? What are you up to? Are you working on your model? Did you improve your model at all? Um, don't rely on PE ratio always for growing companies. It can be high. Yeah. That's just kind of a general thing. Like, at some point, Nvidia, or like in November, I was looking at it. Nvidia and Palantir were like above 50. No, maybe that's just because during the .com, this became a thing. You'd have crazy P to E ratios because maybe the company isn't making money now. Like Uber is a good example. Uber didn't make money for like a decade. But everybody knew, this is going to replace taxis. This is the new kind of paradigm. At some point, they're going to make money. Same thing with Tesla. It is a very common thing in tech stocks. Need to keep in mind when training the model, especially with fundamental data, you will need forward-looking PE and Q a quarter over quarter or year over year growth. Yeah, I'm leaving all that out now because I'm not going to get around to doing the fundamental data for a while. So let me exit out of this chat window and oops. Okay. So I have to figure out how to pull the chat up again. Maybe I can do help chat. What is this called again? I don't remember what it's called. So this is anti-gravity. So let's look up. Oh yeah, and also subscribe, of course. Like the stream. That stuff helps me out a lot, obviously. It also helps me out if you go to the GitHub. If you try to download it, this is what Furpo did. And then try to use it. And let me know how I can improve it, what you would like to see incorporated. I would really appreciate your feedback. And of course, if you use it, it helps me out a lot. If you star the repository, watch the repository, and follow me on GitHub. Those things help raise my coding profile. Also, join the Discord. We talk about interesting things there. I just saw you have a grab.csv. I am actually interested on investing in Grab. I don't even know what Grab is. Did you see that in the data? What is it? Grab Holdings. More. They're only at $3 a share. So what is it? Doesn't give an overview anywhere of what it is. Yeah, so let me look up how to use this. You're also building something, not quant, but kind of something for analysis of LLM from 2006 until now, but it will take time, like 1 month, since there's limit to API. LLM, large language models. large language models in 2006 were like basically like autocorrect, right? Or spell check. Um, so let's look at what do we want to look at? Oh, anti-gravity. It's like Uber from Southeast Asia. Well, I mean, that sounds pretty awesome. How have they done recently? Obviously, they went up today 5 days, 1 month, 6 months. They're having a rough 6 months. 1 year, 5 years. What happened here? Oh, the 2021 boom. So they IPO'd at 1240. I don't know, man. This looks like a stock that's going down. But if you look at it from mid 2022, it's kind of just been growing, but they've had a rough time since last September. Oh, you're working on. Wait, I'm confused on what you're working on. You're working on a large language model to work on stock data going back to 2006. What data source are you using? The best I could find is that data source, the one in the description that I mentioned earlier, but that only goes back to 2011. So if you have something free that goes back to 2006, it'd be cool if you shared it. Also, data going back to 2006 would be amazing because you could include the 2008 recession. Kind of the problem with my data is since 2011, it's been mostly a bull market. So anti-gravity, pull up chat. How to. Click on start conversation. All right, where's start conversation? Start. All right, first let's get we want the list of all the unknowns. So we'll say unknown. Oh, Alpha Vantage. So I wonder do you have to sign something when you're using something like Alpha Vantage that says you won't share it with other people? Like what's stopping you from just downloading the data and then posting it on GitHub or something? Yeah, so Uber for Southeast Asia, so what countries are they in? Or like who are their competitors? What's like the competitor field look like? Sign in, launch the app, start a conversation. Click on start conversation. Open agent manager. Oh, start new conversation. Dismiss. Oh, so it's stuck on the last one. So open editor. Could I just put this in? All right, before I do any of this, let's get the unknown symbols though. So unknown symbols equals sector df. Nice, well let me know how it goes. I want to know if Grab is good to invest in too. And such a cheap stock. That's cool. Sector df of sector. So we want to get sector df where sector df dot sector is equal to unknown. And then we want to get dot account symbol. I guess that's fine. And then we want to save that. So we'll say unknown symbols dot to symbols dot to CSV. Unknown And let's put today's date. So 2026-03-24. Oh, oops, the date's wrong in the stream name, but that's fine. .csv. Okay, so now we have the unknown symbols. Now let's save the sector df .2csv. And what do I call it here? Hello. Hello. Currently, the editor is in a different window from my code. How do I put them in the same? Let's use Gemini 3.1 Pro low. How do I put them in the same window? We don't need the high model to do this. Title bar. Where's the blaze? Numa ye. Yeah, why is that not working? I'm so confused. I just want to put this chat in on the right side like I had it last night. Drag and drop. Click and hold the top title bar of the separated chat window. Maybe I just need to make the windows smaller. I'm building something like point in time analyzer, day by day, week by week, month by month. Interesting. Let me know how it goes. Maybe that will negate this whole project. All right. In your life. All right. I'm using anti-gravity. Bear with me here while I get used to using this. I have the AI chat in a separate window. How do I put it in the same window as my code editor? Let's say Grab has 5 years every day, some news options, play. Oh, so you're going to give it the news too? So what are you using for the news? Are you using like Reddit or Twitter or something? I guess that would be more public sentiment. All right, so if you just tuned in, please subscribe, like the stream, Go to the GitHub, download it, try it out for yourself. Like the repository, watch the repository, follow me on GitHub, and join the Discord. The link for all that stuff's in the description. Interface is intentionally split. Switch back to editor view. Click the open editor button. Once you are looking at your code in the editor view, simply click the agent tab on the right or left sidebar. No. I mean, this is confusing. Open agent manager. Yeah. Open editor. Okay, I was building something that tells me when to start a position based on fundamentals. Hey, Dan Victorlo, Franco. How is this different from the technicians mentioned in the random walk down Wall Street book? I have not read that book. I've heard of it though, but I have never read it. Yeah, what's that mean? The technicians, who are the technicians mentioned in there? Alright, so what's it say? Click the open editor button. Okay, I have that. Open the AI chat sidebar. Simply click the agent tab on the left or right sidebar. Customize layout. Activity bar. Status bar panel. Secondary sidebar. Full screen, Zen mode. Centered layout. Wait, what's pretty basic? Something that tells you when to start a position. No, that's not. I mean, dude, that's like more advanced than your average retail trader. Average retail trader is not doing that. You could beat the average retail trader if there's like a stock you like based on fundamentals, and you just buy it when the MACD or RSI is low, and then you sell a little bit when the MACD or RSI is above the threshold. You could do that in Yahoo Finance here, but then you'd be ahead of most retail traders. But then, the market's not just retail traders, it's the big institutions, and they have armies of quants. So I want to beat the armies of quants. Technicians are those who attempt to predict the future. The author claims that over the large scale of time span, technicians is more or less successful than predicting weather. Well, that's certainly the case. I mean, especially now, you have basically unlimited machine learning tools at your disposal. You can certainly be better than predicting the weather. But even predicting the weather, that's just a physics problem, and the physics isn't understood. Like, if you look at all the models, there's like all the people who work in earth science on like the big climate models. There's people who spend their whole careers on that, and so if you could understand the physics better, you could predict the weather. I don't see the agent tab. Oh yeah, we were talking last night. I said, "What's better, Pepsi or Coke?" And somebody said they don't like Diet Dr. Pep, but here I am with the Diet Dr. Pep, my ultimate drink. If you don't see the agent tab, it might be hidden or collapsed. Command plus L. Okay. Get that out of here. Very good. New conversation. The code get sectors Claude 2.py. Let's use Claude here. Is the code performs much better than previously and is now getting the sectors for over 97% of the tickers in my database. So now if we go to, I saved it in the main. So let me go reorganize this really quick. Interesting insights. If your stock market tool starts to have 60% win rate, will you share it or keep it to yourself? I don't know. I'm kind of trying to figure out what to do about that because there's a few strategies. So my initial plan, since I have it on my YouTube, and all these people have subscribed to watch my progress on the stock market tool. Well, first off, I'm releasing the tool. It's on GitHub, so I'm not sharing my model, but I'm sharing the tool I'm using to make my model. And honestly, like 80% of probably like 80 to 90% of the work is getting the code to work, and being confident in the code. Basically, you write something in code, but then you need to test it, make sure it's robust, and be really confident in that. And then once you have that, you could go through creating a model. So I've open sourced the code so that anyone can do what I'm doing. But then there's kind of a, you have to actually, create the models. So not everybody's going to do that. So my initial plan was I'll just make I don't have enough subscribers or watch time yet, but once I get over 3,000 hours of watch time in the last year, and then I have over 500 subscribers, I can make memberships. So I was thinking of making like a low tier membership of like, I'll probably do $3.33 per month because 3 is my lucky number. Just to support me. And then I could do like a more advanced membership where I share the model and anyone can make the picks that I'm making every single day. Yeah, so that's initially what I was thinking. But then I was looking it up, and if you have a really successful model with like a 6 to 12 month track record you could prove, you could get quant firms to invest in you, and they start you out at like somewhere between $1 to $10 million on your model. And then if it's really successful, they'll upgrade you to like 50 or 100 million. If it's successful, and it will perform well on with a lot of volume. So you need to be doing high volume stocks. And then they'll let you keep 20% of the profit. So if your model's returning 20% each year, and then you get to keep 20% of that, and you have, it's $10 million. That's 20% of 2 million, 400K a year. So that's a lot of money. But then the problem is the big quant firms, they aren't interested in your model if you're sharing the picks. So I kind of have to decide which strategy to go with. And I haven't even gotten to the paper trading phase. Once I have something really successful, I need to paper trade it for a month. And I am going to share that here because that's, interesting. But, I have to share the actual stocks I'm buying and then share the progress. Otherwise, it won't be trustworthy. So, I wouldn't trust someone who says, boy, it's working, trust me. If I get a really good model working, and then I'll probably think about that during the paper trading phase. And then if the paper trading is successful, I'll have to decide. But I could at least share my picks for some time. But if you're like sharing your picks on YouTube, then also they think that doesn't look good. So I need to kind of figure out how to dance between those two. I want to be accessible to get funding from big quant firms, but I also want to make money in the short term. I usually follow some trends on this. I found some people who share it in Reddit. It was effective until it wasn't. I'm starting to think those who are top percentile are those who didn't share. Yes, that's definitely true. Because if that's the thing, if you have a top model, you're trying to get the big quant firms to invest, and you're not going to share your picks. But the other thing is like the models are always changing. Like if you, I'm not sure when you tuned in, but I went over my progress at the beginning of the video, and I had this model which was performing really well. Here, it's beating every metric I'm trying to beat: information coefficient, ratio of information coefficient to information, standard deviation of the information coefficient, and t statistic. So it was beating every metric by a significant margin. But then when I changed the training test split and validation split, suddenly it was going worse than the model. So I did a walk forward analysis. So if you're using exactly this strategy since 2016, you see the metrics were really good until 2021, and then it really fell off a cliff. And the metric, it was still beating the metric I'm going for in 23 and 25 for the return, this information coefficient metric. But in 22 and 24, it wasn't performing well. It's still performing well on stability, but you see the stability fell off too. But it's still above the threshold for every year in stability. So basically, what this is showing, yeah, yeah, if everyone's using the loophole, it gets arbitraged away basically. So basically, this strategy was really good, but it got arbitraged away in 2022. And that makes sense. You know, this is when machine learning was really getting big. Everyone was using machine learning, all data scientists and stuff at this time. So, you know, a strategy that's just using price data, it kind of makes sense that it fell off there. But, you know, if your model fell off here, all you need to do is tweak it, make it a little bit better, and hit the ground running, and you're good to go again. So, having a stock market model, you know, once you get something that's working, it's not going to work forever. It might not even work for the next month. So you need to basically be constantly on your toes, constantly updating it, constantly making it better, constantly finding a new edge that's not arbitraged away. But once you have a working model, that's a really easy, or it's a lot easier to do it once you have a working model than it is to do starting from scratch. Um, oh, okay, so now it's working. Okay, that's VS Code. We want anti-gravity. Okay, so the code get sectors claude2.py. Oh yeah, I was gonna reorganize stuff. So I didn't save it in the right place. It's saved inside of data retrieval. So data, get out of there. Data retrieval. So we have unknown and clean rates, clean interest rates. Did I save this? Pi. Clean rates, clean interest rates, clean interest rate data. Oh, no, I didn't save it. So here I'll just save to slash data slash sectors.csv. And then this guy, we just want to move into data. So unknown, copy, then let's get rid of it here and go put it into data. Man, my eyes are dry. So getting the sectors for over 97% of the tickers. Here is the unknown data. The data for the tickers for which the code could not find a sector. Develop a plan for troubleshooting this and making it work for every sector, for every ticker. So let's give it the code, and then let's also give it the data. So data Unknown. You. Here we go. And give it that. Don't want to look at it. Not interesting. Send. Okay, so now it's going to develop a plan before it does anything. I could go look at that plan. I'm using Claude to create the plan, and then I'm going to use Gemini to implement the plan. So let's see what it says. Let me analyze preferred shares. I'm already accounting for special suffixes. Okay, I'm gonna go make a coffee real quick. I'll be right back. Yeah, well, that's always the problem I run into too. Um, but hey, I won't have the model for 333. But 3 is my lucky number, so I have to do something for 333. But anyway, I'm at what, like 380 some subscribers, so I'm kind of far away from doing that. Just saying, in today's market, trading and investing is so scary within minutes. Algos wipe a lot of the money, and if you panic and do anything, it's more of gambling against algos. Yeah, well, that's if you're short term trading, though. If you're long term trading, you can still beat the algorithms. Um, and you see that in like the data I'm using, how hard it is to. I had a lot of trouble doing. Actually, I'll show you real quick. Um, Basically, I found out here. I was having a lot of trouble getting it to work for 1 day forward returns. So market opens, I'm predicting the log return for the day, and that's because of what you just said. Is that the stuff's getting arbitraged away? You know, it becomes like high frequency trading if you don't have like the fastest. If you don't spend a gajillion dollars on having the fastest infrastructure to send signals to buy and sell, you're just going to lose out. So these 1 day forward log returns are getting wiped out. But the longer you look into the future, the better it performs. So 5 day forward return performs better than 1 day return. 10 day return performs better than 5 days. 30 days, even better, so on and so forth. So you get arbitraged away for short-term stuff, but if you're willing to be a swing trader or a longer-term trader, you can actually find some pretty good edges. So let's see here. This is the plan. The current 5 strategy pipeline achieves 97% coverage, but 331 are unknown. Analysis of yada 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 reveals they fall into clear, well-defined categories, none of which the current code handles. The fix is a pre-processing strategy 0 that normalizes non-standard ticker formats to a parent ticker before hitting any existing strategy. Yeah, if you invest in the long-term, panic sell is just an opportunity to buy cheaper. Yeah, sort of though, but also, if you're already invested, hopefully you'd get out before the panic sell happens in the first place. I need some music, so if you're watching, recommend me some music. And also subscribe, like the stream, go to the GitHub, download it, try it out for yourself. Let me know how I can improve it. Start the GitHub, watch the GitHub, and follow me on GitHub. That all that stuff helps me out a lot. Alright, now I'm looking for some music. Do you guys like Ed Sheeran? I like his album X, his first album. It calms me. It's what I used to listen to in college while I did homework. Alright, so the core fix. Alright. Okay, so the problem with this strategy is the bad ticker shouldn't be giving me an issue. So let's say that. So him and I music. G-Eazy, you like G-Eazy? I haven't heard. The only G-Eazy song I know is It's Just Me, Myself, and I. Alright, G-Eazy. Him and I music. Is it? I guess it's just called Him and I. I think I remember this song when it was on the radio. It's Halsey, right? Because G-Eazy dated Halsey. But it just says G-Eazy. And then Halsey cheated on G-Eazy with Machine Gun Kelly, right? Drama. Alright, the issue with this strategy is that the bad ticker shouldn't be an issue. I'm pulling the code. I'm pulling the full name from the ticker name. I have this information in the data set. Reassess. Alright, good point. Let me look at the actual data. I need to see. Alright, run that. Good, now it's looking for why the Edgar search is failing. I hope it didn't have an error because I ran out of requests. Problem with this is it kind of takes a while. It doesn't make for the most interesting stream, does it? But oh well. I like instant coffee. Do you guys like instant coffee? Kind of one of my more controversial opinions. Lots of people think instant coffee sucks. But I'm a big fan of the flavor. Probably because I drink it a lot. Come on, yo. I wonder what's taking so long. No, it's not interesting until you are in a quant firm. Until I'm in a quant firm, or what? If I'm in a quant firm, I can't do live streams sharing it. But if I'm in my own quant firm, the Pat LaChapelle Fund, then I can share it. That's kind of my dream. And my dream isn't even this. My dream is to really have my own physics company. And then every day I wake up, I live stream doing physics research for maybe like 8 hours or something. I can do it from my house. Go work in the garage and do physics experiments. Fusion experiments, plasma experiments, shock physics experiments, materials science, stuff like that. And then I could, once I get tired of that, maybe I'll do that for 4 hours, then go work 2 hours on this quant analysis, then go back, work a few more hours on physics. I think that's the ideal. That's the ideal for the future is nobody works for companies, everybody works for themselves, doing things that are interesting, innovating stuff like that. And have you ever heard of Conway's law? It's this computer science guy came up with it, and he provides a proof that shows companies get less efficient the more people they have. That's why like tech companies are so big on like flat integration, and it's also why tech companies are so big on like automating away jobs. Because if you have like a gajillion employees, if you have like 50,000 employees, it's kind of hard to keep with the vision of the founder. But if you have one employee, it's all in your head. This is taking forever. So let me copy this, and I'm going to try to just use a different model. Alright, I'll try this. I don't know what this is. We'll see how it works. For how long I love my lover now for how long I love my lover now for how long I love my lover now I love my lover now for how long. This is taking a really long time. Oh. I keep forgetting it's trying to run code, so it's not getting stuck. It's just trying to run code. So let's go back to Claude. Claude Opus. My lover now. Why does anti-gravity want to access data from other apps? You're gonna have to explain that first. No. Alright, let's run that. I feel like they make these AI models to just constantly request more access to your computer to steal your information. Because, like, why would it want to access my downloads folder? I'm not even in the downloads folder. There's nothing in the downloads folder it could want. That isn't making any sense. It's not clocking, as Justin Bieber would say. Run command, run it. Run it. Now it's trying to get which pip I have. What? I don't get why it needs that. Alright, still trying to figure out why it fails. Oh, so it's trying to figure out the pi arrow stuff. Good, this took me a long time yesterday to figure out. Why is it taking so long to read this feather? I guess that's what pi arrow does. It reads feather. Let me write that down because I've been having a lot of issues with pi arrow. These are my notes. It's not very well organized. Louder. Reading feather schemas without. Why is it use pandas to read feather, dopey? Can you feel it? Beat kicks in again. Can you feel it? Alright, it's almost 10 p.m. So my goal is I gotta get this done tonight. I gotta get the sector for every stock done tonight. And it should be easy. It's not gonna take forever to run like it did last night because I basically have 30 new tickers to get. I saved everything else. So let's see, almost 13,000 tickers. I have sector information for everything except 300 something. Man, I gotta get used to this. I keep forgetting I'm not letting it run commands on its own, so I gotta click run every time. But that's fine. It's still way faster than using the web interface. Oh, it's not a feather file. It's a CSV. All right, fine. Why is that causing such an issue? La la la. Met this girl late last year. If I disappear. Run. Symbols feathers confirmed at that path. I mean, come on. Why is this giving it such issues? I got so confused because I said it was a feather and not a CSV. Hey, Paprika. Physics. I did physics in college. Physics is my favorite because it incorporates everything. You do math. You do some computer science stuff. We did, in my electric circuits class, we wrote assembly code. And so you do basically The basics of computer science, cool things in math, cool things in physics. We learned how to basically assemble the hydrogen atom from statistics, and then you can generalize that to any atom, and suddenly all of chemistry makes sense. Come on, man. All right. I don't want to always run it. It's going to fuck shit up, I think. Oh my god. Uh, oh yeah, and my night's going well. I had work today. I have a huge commute. I spend 4 hours going to and from work every day, which is brutal. But I like my job. It's fun, and I only have to have that commute because I went into big debt. So there's your lesson. Don't go into debt, and you won't have to move in with your parents 2 hours from your work. But other than that, it's going really well. And then I get home every night and I work on this. It's fun. I watch Jeopardy with my parents. Things are good. Get lost. All right, you can read feather files with pandas. Don't worry about installing stuff. Just tell me, just update your strategy to solve the problem I gave. The current strategy is worrying about odd tickers with period, money sign, etc. Just worry about but this is already accounted for because I am using the tickers to pull up the full company names. But I still am getting unknown. No, not debt in the stock market. That would be crazy. Debt from my ex-girlfriend, and then my relationship went really bad. So I was trying to fix stuff by going to dinner all the time, and she always wanted me to buy her stuff, and I was already paying for where we lived, all our food, paying for gas in our car, paying for everything. So lesson learned: don't go into debt over a lady. I studied computer engineering, though I hated electrical engineering. um, yeah, honestly, I noticed that one time I watched my stream and I went, "Dang, my keyboard sounds really good." I think it really helps with the streams. Um, oh, in real life, I don't know how it sounds in real life, but I don't know. It's just a standard Mac keyboard. It does sound really good though. But I'm still getting unknown for over 300 tickers. Come up with an implementation plan which will solve this problem. Say it again. Oh, Nina. You're right, I was going down the wrong path. Ticker format doesn't matter. I got into keyboard hobby recently, writing custom firmware, buying hundreds of dollars in switches and accessories. That's crazy. I know people who do that. hundreds of dollars on switches and accessories, though, is crazy. Yeah, I'm still paying the debt, but it's working. Well, I'm working my way down. But it's not only from. So then, this is all tied to my life falling apart because I was too invested in my relationship. But then I was in a master's program that my work was paying for. But then I failed out of my master's program. So instead of my work paying for it, now they made me pay for it. So I went from, it was stupid. I signed up for this program thinking, it's free. And now I'll have a master's degree, master's in applied math. And then I failed out, and I went from it being free and having a master's to no master's, and now I owe them like $11,000. So I haven't even started working into that debt, but they don't charge interest on that, and you can run from them. They might not. It might not be enough money for them to garnish my wages, and so I could just run from that until I got to make it till the end of 2031. So like 5.5 years, but then it'll go off my credit score. Um, if they never garnish my wages, it's no issue. So, but the credit cards, they have such high interest rates, it's kind of fucking me. So I got one credit card totally paid off. I'm up down to like $4,500 on my other credit card, but I make no money at work. I make 50K a year. If you're in another country, that might be a lot of money, but in the US, it's not very much money. So I got to fight my way out of it. But I'm hoping my YouTube channel will be successful, and I'm hoping the stock market model will be successful. And then I'll be good to go. I'll be out of debt. Reassessing. Okay. So let me copy this. If they print. Yeah, I actually was thinking the same thing. I was so worried about the U.S. dollar is going to fall. We're going to lose the war in Iran because I don't see any way that we actually win it. They're going to get the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to have to withdraw from the Middle East. Petrodollar will fall. And so I was so worried. I said to my parents, the petrodollar is going to fall. They said, we have a huge loan on the house. That'd be great for us. Our loan payments would become nothing in real money. But yeah, so maybe that, if the petrodollar falls, that's the silver lining, is my debt would go to nothing in real money. Thanks, Furpo. And if I don't succeed, what really matters? The debt stuff doesn't really matter. Money's not real. It's just like a thing. I really believe that if I just work hard on interesting things like physics and coding and stuff, money someday will fall into my lap. But what really matters is that, I said proceed, but I didn't even see what it said. So I'll see what the changes it makes into my file are. But what really matters is that I'm healthy and my brain is working well. That's all I really care about. The debt, you don't want to go into more debt, but, I'm getting out of it. I'll figure it out. I'm not too worried about it. Well, oil and natural gas stocks. Me too. What am I at? I'm like 10 to 15% in like random holdings, mostly like robotics and what else do I have? Oh, SCHD, the Schwab Equity Dividend ETF, which basically like it underperforms SPY in bull markets, but it outperforms SPY in bear markets. So I have a little bit in that. I have a little bit in robotics, and then 50% of my portfolio is in oil, and then like 40% of my portfolio is in cash. So I am positioned for a recession, but and a prolonged war. But did you see what happened to oil? Oil went way, market closed, oil went way down. So I don't know what the hell's going on, but they're manipulating shit. But the calculus of what I think's going on doesn't change. Yeah, Furpo, I agree. Until the market closed today. All right, implementing search logic. Implemented the fixes from get sectors. I don't know if that code's going to work well. I think it's going to try to run everything. All right, stupid. The problem is I'm using conda and you are not, you need to activate the base environment in conda. Reject. I lost a lot by investing in uranium shitcos, or those shit companies. My golden energy investing has brought me to break even. Hey, you know, break even sometimes isn't all that bad. At least you didn't lose all your money in uranium shit companies. My brother invested a lot in uranium, but it wasn't shit companies. So he's up over 100% over the last few years in uranium. All right, I'm going pretty slow on this, so I need to get down to business. I want to know, why is this code not working? I mean, this isn't even that complicated. I feel like this is really complicating things. All right, so let's see what the changes are. Oh, no, 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 leave me lonely now. I'm afraid of losing this good code. I'll accept it. Now write a test at the bottom which pulls the unknown tickers and tries to get the sector for each. Put in the debugger now right at the end of the test by calling no, lurk mode, you don't have to go into lurk mode. It's good to be commenting and stuff. It's up to me. I have to focus. I have a hard time focused. I get excited talking and then I don't shut up. So put in the debugger at the end of test by calling st. Write a boolean for the test at the top so it runs. Turn off the other tests. Test unknowns. Oh, it wrote a new script. Test unknowns. Bloodstream. So where's test unknowns? Burn in my... Let's run it. Really? You think coding's the hardest thing to stream? I feel like it's like one of the easiest things to stream because you're just working on your computer. Get all changed to 0. Put on test unknowns. Put that guy in there. All right, now let's run it. So we've saved everything here, so we're good to go. Calling out across the line. All right, so this is the first BAF, B-A-F. Calling out across the line. All the voices in my mind. Calling out across the line. BAF. Look at this output. The sector is obviously wrong. Explain what you think the problem is before writing any code. I looked up the Alpaca API 2 days ago out of curiosity for algo trading, and the algo showed me your stream out of nowhere. Sometimes it works like when... Really? That's cool. That means, okay, why is it not activating codebase? I stopped the tests because it's failing. The problem is that I'm using conda and you are not. You need to activate the conda base environment. Hi, can I join in on the debug session? Yeah, of course. Diana B. Dole. Diana B. Dole. No, it's not mini conda. Yeah, you got any advice? I'm trying to use this AI tool, but it's kind of not working. So this is less efficient than the strategy I was using. But I think if I could get used to this and run things easily. Claude, yeah, but then I ran out of requests for Claude. Should I just pay the $20 a month for Claude? Lure me in over me. Are you going to bed?
I am. Hey, you found your earbuds?
I did, thank you.
They were in your sweatshirt, and I'm glad I caught it before the
Oh,
wash.
oops. That would have been a dumb mistake. I didn't scratch you with my watch, did
No,
I?
you're fine.
Okay, good.
Buddy, good night. You stay
Buddy,
here.
come on.
Go with
Buddy.
Dad. I'm going to bed.
It's okay.
Good
He'll
night,
try. He'll
sweetie.
come back in. See you then. Sweet dreams. Okay, so let's go pay for Claude. It's $20 a month, and it's been useful. So, how do I do that? Upgrade plan. Yeah, this is again boring. I'm just on the internet and I don't want to share all my information. Get pro plan. Monthly. I'm not paying for the whole year at once. Okay. I need my card. I don't have my card. Okay, I'll be right back. I have to go get my card. What exactly is it that we're debugging? I'll show you when I get back. I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that is the case. Good boy. Good boy. Oh, ouch. All right, so again, this is kind of boring. Yeah, but then I'm trying to use this anti-gravity tool because you can use Claude in it, but you could also use Google Gemini, which I've been using for code, and you could also use Codex. So, trying to use that. So, let me make sure I didn't just show my credit card. No, I didn't. Okay, good. Oh yeah, and who said that? N Paprika. Yeah. Yeah, you said coding is the hardest thing to stream, but I get way more views on these streams than I get on my art streams. Nobody's interested in me painting, so well, some people are. That's not true, but most people aren't. Um, anyway, I started doing this project, and I'm getting way more views, subscribers, and watch time than I was getting previously. So I've kind of just carried on with this. Okay. I haven't shown my credit card, have I? Good, I don't think I have. Okay, so back to putting in my credit card. Sorry, this is taking a bit because I'm kind of paranoid about accidentally showing my credit card, but I think I've been good so far. I hope that works, otherwise... Good, okay, welcome to Pro. Thank you very much. Hey, thanks, Diana B. Dole. Yeah, I know. I messed up the. I'm bad at that because I have to. Basically, all I do every day, streaming like takes no effort. So you just kind of, if you're already working on the project, you just work. So the only thing I do is basically change the title of the stream every day when I start. And 2 days ago or yesterday, I didn't update the date, so it said March 22nd, and then today. I thought I updated the date, but it's actually the 24th and not the 22nd. So, yeah, I'm not in the past. I just fucked up the title. Yeah, and that is the life of the artist. Yeah, time traveler. Um, okay, so we should be good to use Claude now. Oh no. Oh, so this wants me to upgrade to Google. Hey, NGKHLR. I'll show you. Okay, so you asked, and then Diana Bidol asked. So, uh, give me a second. Um, oh yeah, Diana Bidol. Don't forget to. Yeah, here's the repository. So don't forget to star it. Um, and like it. But oh yeah, star it. It helps me out if you star it, watch it. Um, Also, if you fork it instead of cloning it, I don't know if you care about that. Oh yeah, follow me on GitHub too. That stuff helps me out. Um, Try closing out and reopening VS Code. Oh, my is my computer stuck? Wait, why? What do you mean try? Why would I do that? Oh, to get the model to work. Okay. So, um, NGK is cool, by the way. My coding knowledge is zero. Wait, is that? Are you talking about yourself in the third person like Ricky Henderson? Yeah. So let me talk about real quick. I'll go over what I'm doing. So this is basically the outline and my goals. Where is that? Here. So the first goal is to beat the S&P 500. First goal is basically the return. So I want to beat the S&P 500 by a significant margin and make money in all regimes. So if the market's going down, I don't want to beat the S&P but still lose money. Conversely, if the market's going up, I want to be doing much better than the S&P is doing, because otherwise you could just buy and hold the S&P. And really, I should be generating about 20% returns on an annual basis in order for this to be I want quant firms to fund me, basically. Um, so here's the outline for the model. I have data. I'm feeding that into a stock universe. You don't want to train the model on all data because things like penny stocks or low volume stocks are going to make your model perform worse. Also, quant firms are interested in high volume stocks so that they know their strategies will work when you're trading a lot of money. So once you have the stock universe, once I have the stock universe, I'm gonna, but me and you, because there's a, obviously the repository you can use. So once you have the stock universe, you want to use this to train a returns model. The returns model should basically be getting really good information coefficient, standard deviation of the information coefficient. Information coefficient is giving basically how good your model is at predicting. Then the standard deviation of the information coefficient, the information coefficient to information ratio, and the t statistic are telling you how stable your model is. So you want to be hitting good values on all of those metrics. Um, this is the first iteration. Basically, it kind of worked. I got some portfolio strategies, but they were really fragile. Then I went in and cleaned up the code base. So this took all of January. This took all of February. But by the time that was done, I incorporated all of these features and targets into the model. Then I threw all of the features into the model to see how they performed. It was performing worse on directional accuracy, but you don't care about that. You care about the metrics that I just mentioned. I was able to get this model, which is performing really well. And I did all sorts of tests for this to see, can I break the model? And basically, I found that even after all of my tests and incorporating everything, the model was performing even better than it did before. So I thought I had a really good model until I changed the data split. So I went from splitting first 60% is training, next 20% is validation for tuning the hyperparameters, and the final 20% was for testing. When I changed this from 60 20 20, as I just explained, to 50 15 35, suddenly it wasn't hitting the metrics I want. So this indicated the model isn't robust, and I needed to figure out why. I did a walk forward analysis where I grouped data, and I trained a bunch of models. Each model had 6 sequential years grouped. The last year was the test. The second to last year was the validation set for tuning the hyperparameters, and the first 4 years was the training. And you see, basically, this was getting, I want an information coefficient between 0.01 and 0.02. And so this was getting a really good information coefficient, well above my threshold, every year until 2021. After that, it degraded, and it got below 0.01 2022. It got a little bit above 0.01 in 23, back below in 24, and back above again in 25. And so this shows that basically the model would have been doing really well, but it kind of fell off in later years. Um, the next thing I looked at was and also the information coefficient to information ratio. You can see that fell off too, but it's still getting above 0.3. So here, the worst year, it was getting 0.44 on an annual basis. And so even though it fell off, the model is still stable enough, but I've lost the predictive accuracy that I want. But still, I'm not far off. I want 0.01, ideally above 0.02. And you see, even the worst years, I'm getting 0.008. And so it's pretty close to getting the metrics that I want. So I need to add, basically, I don't need to go crazy and totally change the model. I need to add something that's going to squeeze a little bit extra performance out of the model. And the easiest way to do this, there's kind of two ways you can incorporate fundamental data into the model, because right now I'm only incorporating price data. So I can add fundamental data, which is basically quarterly and yearly reports. But that's going to be really complicated. I could also add sector informations, and that's going to do two things for me. Basically, I could add the sectors as a new feature. Adding another feature, especially one that's not going to be correlated to the other features, is really going to improve the model. And the other thing I'll be able to do is normalize all the features and targets to the sector. So right now I'm normalizing on the rest of the data. So like an example of how you would normalize is you say, I'm trying to predict the log return. Well, a better thing than that would be predict the log return relative to the average for that day. So instead of using the raw value, you're basically getting the log return and then subtracting the average log return for the day. And that makes the model perform better. And what makes it perform even better than that is saying, rather than subtracting the average for the whole market, just subtracting the average for the sector. So once I have the sector data, I'll be able to do those two things. So I started on this over the weekend. I found this out on Friday. I did this on Saturday, and then Saturday I started trying to get the sectors. So initially I was only able to pull 55% of the sectors. I'm getting the sectors from the SEC Edgar database, so they have all information for all tickers. The problem is it's really easy to get it for tickers that are currently listed, but hard to get it for tickers that have been delisted. And if you don't get it for tickers that have been delisted and just drop those out of your database, you're going to have a real problem with survivorship bias, and your model's not going to be as good as it seems on the testing when I go to paper trading. So I need to get the sector for every single ticker that I have. So the first iteration, I was only getting 55% of the sectors. I improved it to get 75% of the sectors. Improved it again to get 93% of the sectors, and last night I improved it to get 97% of the sectors. But 97% still isn't all of them, so I have about 13,000, just under 13,000, 12,770 tickers in my data. And I'm only missing about 300 something sectors. So for those final 300 that are missing, I need to write the code to basically get the sector information for each of those. And currently, to answer your question, Paprika, I have two models. So the longer it's looking out into the future, I found, the better the model performs. And I'm not able to get a good model on daily returns, so buying and selling every day. What I am able to get a good model on is 5 day returns, so predicting the returns in 5 market days. That's what this model's doing, and it's performing really well on that. And then I went ahead and did the same model for 20 days, so that's going to be just under a month. And so I'm going to paper trade both of those for a month, and then if they're performing well on every metric, I'm going to go live with them. But before I can do that, I need to get this sector information, and I need to get these final 300 sectors. You've exhausted your capacity. It will give me more at 2:30, so in 4 hours. Okay, dismiss. Damn, that sucks. Maybe I could do this model. Oh, it says for all Claude. Well, that is a disappointment. But let's run it again here. No, well, I don't know. I guess I'm an aspiring quant, but it's not my day job. This thing's like retarded. There we go. Finally. I'm honestly just going to go back to the browser if this doesn't work. I've been doing it since the beginning of the year, so almost to 3 months now, getting close to 3 months. I was hoping by the end of 3 months I'd have a good model to paper trade. I'm almost there, but not quite there yet. Um, no, really, all the change, yeah, the this model that I got working, that's with the code that's in the repository right now. Everything that I've changed is, I could just commit those changes. Oh no, yeah, so there's 12 changed files, but nothing important. This is all just this AI stuff, and it's all been trying to get this sector data. So basically, the repository doesn't have anything to pull the sector data that's working perfectly. It's pulling the sector data, but it's not working perfectly. So, yeah, I don't know. I might just go back to using the web browser. Yeah, I've been trading for a long time, but I wasn't making money for a while, but I've had a great year. I had a silver trade. At the beginning of the year, obviously silver did really well. Then I bought a put on the Bitcoin ETF. I bought that when Bitcoin was at like 90,000, somewhere around there. And then I sold it when Bitcoin was at 71,000, so that did really well. Um, and then I was trying to buy up shares of Pfizer so that I could sell covered calls on Pfizer. But then I stopped that because I felt like we were going to go into a recession when the Iran war started. And now I'm just heavy in oil because I don't see any way the war is going to end. But we'll see. They're acting like it's going to end, but I think that's all just, what do you call that? Cloak and daggers. I don't think it's really going to end. So we'll see what happens. And the salted tears. Alright, so let's see if it gets the sector. On my way home. I'm drowning in the oceans you made. I mean, if this doesn't work, I'm just gonna feed it to the, wait, hold up. Yeah. Alright, let's go back to the browser. Oh, the insiders. Oh my god, that shit drives me nuts. Did you see that thing where somebody sold? Trump made that announcement Monday morning that, I'm actually Saturday night he says we're going to attack in 48 hours if they don't capitulate. And then Monday morning he said, "Oh, never mind." And like 5 minutes before that somebody, I don't know what they did. They bought calls on the S&P or something like that. They made like 1.3 billion dollars on a few trades. Insiders. Yep, exactly. Verbal posturing for market manipulation. It drives me nuts. That happened last year with the tariffs too. I had a bunch of Bitcoin last year when I was in debt. So, never be holding assets while you're in debt. That's stupid because then I was under pressure. I had to sell them. But last year, the press secretary came out when we were doing the tariff stuff, and she said it was right when the first tariffs came out, and she said the president refuses to budge an inch. And I thought, damn, that's the most hardline shit I've ever heard. They're not moving at all. And then the next day they took the tariffs off, and it was like, damn, you're just manipulating shit. Let's pull up Gemini Pro in the browser. Oh, well, I mean, I feel dumb too. I wouldn't say I'm a quant guy. I'm an aspiring quant, I would say. But I do like code. And I've been doing it for a while. Now with all these tools, it's like this is the first time since I've been coding that like new tools come out that make it easier to code, and they're evolving so rapidly. I feel like if I could just ride the wave and be on the edge I could get way ahead of everybody else. So this is really exciting because with just raw coding skills, I was never there and I was never probably going to get there. Yeah. Yeah, and then you see, yeah, it really is. And they started manipulating. Remember, Trump coin came out? And that shit was crazy. I was like, I can't believe they're still releasing like these pump and dump coins, and I can't believe the president's doing it. But that should have been an indicator. Whatever. Um, I was all excited. I thought Trump was going to be anti-war. I thought we were going to finally have the paradigm shift we needed. Nope, no paradigm shift. So I have this code to pull sector data from the SEC Edgar database. It is pulling 97% of sectors, but still fails on the rest. I need all sectors because I am using this for a quant machine learning model. Assess why it is not working for all sectors. Here is the output of the script. For the first ticker I'm trying to get. All right, I'll just run it again and then paste in that first ticker. Let's get ready to exit out, cancel it. Okay, there it is. Okay, and then let's give it yes, I do. But I find that Google Gemini Pro works better than Claude. But I have Claude and I ran out of requests, so I just subscribed to Premium. So I can move over and use that at some point. Let's see what it's thinking. So problem is that's not the name of a sector. It's just some SIC code, which is 0. Iron ore and steel are also looking surprisingly good from here. Makes you wonder why the market thinks the economy will good. What's the pitch on iron ore and steel? Just because they're finite resources, or yeah, what's the thesis for that going up? By the way, if you're watching, please subscribe. Please like the stream. Please download the repository. The link's in the description. Test it out. Let me know how it works. Let me know how I can improve it. And star the repository. Watch the repository. Follow me on GitHub. All that stuff helps me out a lot. All right, so I'll replace the function. And update strategy 1. Okay, so first let's update this function. Get CIK. Resolve CIK via company name. Get sick from CIK. Steel is supposed to be tied to economic expansion. Yeah. But you also kind of, don't you always need steel? Update strategy 1. Get sectors. Strategy 3, strategy 2. If XML and content type. Yes, that's true. You can't expand without oil. Oil. So let's see if this works. I'm out of coffee. It's looking through all sorts of things. Alright, so that seems like it's working. Ambiguous after searching via business name. I am concerned that this is actually giving the wrong sector for some results. How can I be certain that the code is working as intended? Do I need to, yeah. you need to install Dolt. I didn't put how to do that in the repository. But just look up like Dolt install. It's pretty easy. You just need to run something from the command line. Go here. They explain it here. So this is actually easy. Just download for Mac. Super easy. Oh man, my eyes are dry. Well, I just mass spawned 4 different AIs to argue about. Well, cool. The good thing for you is you could just download it. But right now it's only working on price data. So to argue about whether Tesla's cooked or not. Thanks. Well, all you have to do is use the AI models instead of arguing with each other. Tell them, find me a strategy. Look, you can make a whole strategy in 50 lines of code. But warning, the best strategy I found works really well until 2021, but it falls off. So that's why I'm trying to get sector information right now to improve everything. But honestly, you could do it in under 50 lines of code. It's perfect for a chat model. All right, let's add this guy in. Validation helper in pass 1. Okay, so just rewrite the whole script I can paste in. Keep my tests untouched so I can still run them. Let's see if it's still working. So metal mining. All right, well, I guess I could just look it up. BIF stock. So is this metal mining? I mean, oh, BIF stock. BIF. It's 26 cents a share. It's not going to be in my data set anyway. I mean, look at this. This is exactly, by the way, this is exactly the type of thing you want to avoid. So look at that. Look at this over the year. See how flat it is? It goes flat for long periods of time. Now let's pull up a high volume stock like Apple. See, I guess the 1 year data is harder to look at, but look. So this is never, that has that low volume problem. If we go 1 year here, look, clearly low volume. It goes flat for long chunks of time. So this is a perfect example of something you don't want in your stock model. This is something you would want in your stock model. Okay, so it rewrote the whole script. Let's paste it in here. So inside of data retrieval, we're going to make a new script, and let's call this pull sectors v3.py. And then test unknowns. Yeah, okay. I guess I could manually look, but oh, don't want to run that. So let's run pull sectors. Oh, we want to run Python 3. Pull sectors v3. BlackRock Municipal Income Investment Quality Trust matches, but has no SIC. This is actually a much harder problem than I thought. I thought I could do this really quickly. Oh, I didn't think I was going to have so much trouble with this. Just a cool thought, but you could also set up an MCP server down the line for the repo. What even is MCP server? I thought a good thing to do would be incorporate this into a website so anyone can do this. You don't need to download the code even, but maybe that's a good way to do that. Yeah, so what's an MCP server? This is printing out so much crap now. Oh no, it's giving unknown. For BAF. Alright. Basically, it's a connector that you can add to Claude. Or maybe make a skill plus. What's a skill? Skill plus? CLI. Oh, command line interface. That'd be cool, but then people don't like command line interfaces if they don't already code. They feel like it's too much of a learning curve. Now, I'm not going to go through and check for all 8,000 tickers manually. Maybe I could give that to the AI, though. I need some good music to listen to, so recommend me some songs. Or albums. Because I keep listening to the same stuff. You would essentially create a connector that gives Claude access to your functions, where it would be able to run the decode and I think just code and just return the results to your web browser in plain English. Yes, that's exactly what I want to do. But then the problem is that's going to cost people a lot of money, I think, because then running the code takes a long time. Like this walk forward analysis I did, that took like maybe an hour. Maybe not, but it definitely took like at least 30 minutes. Tempo slash genre, what's that mean? Search Arabic Oud Nights plus Jazz Lo-Fi. Is that on YouTube or is it like a song? Oh, 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 oh. I see. Tempo. Oh, tempo slash genre. Oh, sorry for the music. Um, Upbeat tempo. Um, Genre. I like rap. I like pop. Rap. I guess for working, I really like pop, dance music. Um, what else? Country. Country obviously isn't going to be an upbeat tempo, but dance music or pop should be upbeat tempo. No, it's not Arabic. It's just lo-fi using Arabic. Yeah, but oh, it's on YouTube. I don't want to use YouTube because it's gonna drain my phone battery. Cup car the other day. Come on, thing. All right, I need another drink. I'm gonna be right back. Thanks for watching. For the people currently watching, please subscribe, like the stream. Go to the GitHub, download the code, try it out for yourself. Let me know how it works. Let me know what I can improve. What you would like to see incorporated. Also, start the GitHub, watch the GitHub, follow me on GitHub. Let people type what happens if I buy tech when oil crashes and have your code. Well, that's yes, that exactly. That is a startup, but kind of the hard thing with that is I don't know, is the AI good enough to figure out what it's trying to do? Because what it's gonna do is, what happens if I buy tech when oil crashes? It would have to. I mean, how's it gonna output? It's gonna create a model for that. Maybe I could create like some simple models. Um, yeah, I don't know. Um, It will use coding agents to build the backtest. So maybe the coding agents could figure out what model to use, how to create a model. The thing I'd worry about though is what if the coding agents create. Maybe you could add some logic like verify the model's good with the information coefficient. Alright, let's try this again. Pull sectors V3. Alright, already will all. Alright, stop this. And let's run it again. Spanish indie pop artist named Henry Semler. Nice. Just what I was looking for. Henry Semler. Cool. Nice. I like music where I don't understand the language too, because it helps me focus. Oh no, it's automated your job. Does that mean you've lost your job or it's imminent? I think for people whose jobs get automated by AI, I've been thinking, the jobs aren't really going to get automated. It's more about like teams of like 30 people are going to turn into a one person team running a whole bunch of AIs. Nice. Are you leaving then, NGK? Um. Anyway, thanks. Thanks for the music recommendations. So it's looking for bath. Holy shit, it's just looking forever. The company I work for moves slowly to adopt AI. I'll be secure for at least a year. Yeah, did you see that? This is like a month ago or a month and a half ago now. But the CEO of Anthropic says they estimate 20% unemployment by the end of the year. That is crazy. Okay, so it says it found something for BAF. BAF, where are you? BAF attempting Y finance. Oh, still giving unknown. Okay, I'm gonna go grab another drink real quick. I'll be right back. Alright, let's see what it says. Whoa. It's a huge script. Did I think I gave it the failure, right? The reason BAF is returning unknown. Edgar assigns delisted tickers. BAF was acquired, delisted years ago in strategy 5. No sector, no fallback unknown. What does a heuristic map in mean? Okay, so let's write a function for just test BAF. Oh, these are terrible suggestions. Skip. Right. You know, honestly, I might just add them by hand. Oh, it's in data. So let's read dot dot slash data slash that df. So let's go df unknowns is equal to df where df dot sector is equal to unknown. And let's look at the unknowns. Yeah, so 330. And then so then we could do universe is equal to pd dot read feather, and let's go to data. Let's go into my universes. So dot dot slash data slash universes slash one dot feather. Okay, and then we're gonna say universe where universe dot account symbol dot is in, and we want to get where it's in unknowns dot account symbol dot account symbol dot unique. All right, and how many tickers? So if it's missing things but not everything in the universe, then it'll be okay, but let's get the length of that. 127. So in the universe, I'm only missing 127 sectors. Let's go df.sectors.unique. Yes, I did mean sector. Well, that's a lot of sectors. So len of df.sectors.sector.unique. There's 736 different sectors. So CIK padded, then everything else. Let's do this down to data. Everything before SIC. Okay, so let's see if this works now for BAF. Okay, that works. And it's way faster. So now let's try for all of the unknowns. Alright, so let's see if we could test. So now it's going through. Basically, I want to make sure the sector's correct for each ticker. If the sector's incorrect, that's going to cause a problem. It's going to ruin my model because I have bad sector data, and I need to avoid that. Okay, so let's update score match. It's not in there. Hey, buddy. Oh no, it resent the command. Dang it. So basically here's my problem that I'm working on right now. I need to get sector information. I was getting 55% of sectors. I improved it to 75% of sectors, then 93% of sectors. And now I'm getting 97% of sectors. I've got some code which works for the missing sectors, so I'm going to have all of this in the data. But once I have it, I need to uh, make sure that I actually have the right sector for the ticker. Um, so that's it for tonight. I gotta go to bed and my dog wants to go out. Don't forget to subscribe, like the stream, go to the GitHub, check it out, try to use the repository, let me know how it works, let me know how I can improve it, and what changes you'd like to see added. Start the GitHub, watch the GitHub, follow me on GitHub, and also join the Discord. The link for all that's in the description. But that's it for tonight. I'm going to bed. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a good rest of your night. Adios. Like the stream, go to the GitHub, check it out, try to use the repository, let me know how it works, let me know how I can improve it, and what changes you'd like to see.